Hi there, welcome back to Game Design Speedrun. In our last video, we got down to 1 hour, 1 minute, which is really difficult to try and beat. I'm going to try and do it again. And the concept is to make a playable prototype of a game as quickly as possible without really much preparation. All I do is find some royalty-free art assets that I can use and then maybe have a concept pitch. For this one, what I had in mind to use as a starting point is a social deduction deck building game. If you're familiar with any of my work, I've made a lot of social deduction games at this point. And I thought this would be an interesting, different take on it. That's going to be really annoying. So I found these characters. Let me zoom in a lot to do the trim. Because I'm thinking the theme should be something like corporate espionage, which could be cool. It's going to be easy to cut out. This is probably an easy one to cut out. Oops, and then I'll allow. Copy. I'm gonna have to tidy that. Stay on the right layer, would you? Let's grab a couple of people. Got some more business suit type stuff. That's 6. This is 7. Alright. Neat. Okay, so I'm gonna have to draw a line. 1 pixel and in black. You won't even notice because the background's black. Handy trick there to make the magic wand detect a little easier stuff. I use the magic wand for like as much as possible. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing here. Grab my paintbrush. Dot this little spot. It's usually just white that it has trouble with detecting, because when you're hitting the background. Oops, wrong layer. Yeah. Perfect. Alright, we have our characters. Unselect. No, just. Here we go. Fit on screen. So we've got our list of characters. So we're just going to put them in a group. I'm going to make a box for them to sit in. Actually, that's really small. Just eyeball it then, something like this. We stack them all up on each other, and then make them all fit the box. Okay. There we go. Really should have done it the other way around, but that's okay. This one is an irregular size. Well, now it's the size of the box. It's not intentional, but that's how it's happened. So yeah, the idea is to make a social deduction deck building game. Now, my basis for inspiration is a button shy game called Stew, which I quite like. And the premise is that you are building a stew and you're putting different ingredients in, and you never really know how many points are in the stew, and you're trying to call for when you think there's enough points in the stew. Yeah. Okay, so this box here is going to be their name and business title. It's supposed to be like a pseudo business card template, right? And then here's going to be the effect or whatever, and then I'm going to put in this corner a die, which is going to have the point value on it. I reordered this. Why did I do that? Okay. Yeah. So let's start with a 1 pointer. So let's get the right size. Let's take this out of the portraits folder. Nice. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a box in white behind it. Fill white, stroke none. Okay. Didn't quite come across as neat as I would have liked. Okay, it's the rectangle's fault, not the... Okay, let's make this an item. And then we'll free transform that. Oh, actually I can keep it how it is and do what I did last time where I just erase part of it. That's probably easier. And it conforms to the lines of the dice. If I could actually do it, what? How am I doing such a poor job at this? Why is it jumping over so far? What is that? This is much easier. Okay, see the little ones up there. And then what I'm going to do is add an outer glow that looks horrible. It's actually not terrible. I might change the color though. Yellow, more white. More white. See that? That I just deleted. God damn it. I have to redo it. Welcome to the comedy of errors. Okay, there we go. That looks heaps better. Let's see what that looks like on a character portrait. I should have saved the default, but this isn't about making good decisions, is it? How does that look? Because we have the textured background, putting the outer glow highlights some of the texture of the background. I tried to pick something that felt like nice business card paper. It's not easy. Okay. So next is some titles and some effects. So we go like this. We're going to use our favorite font, Kazai Antique, and we need some job titles. So we probably need someone that's managing director, right? If it's corporate themes, that's probably the easiest place to start. Make this much bigger. Probably like that. And then we're gonna use a random name generator. Okay, no. I'm gonna use whoops. Probably skip me doing all the name generator stuff. It's still not quite correct. It keeps going with business names. Okay. So we've got Larissa Wilder. If we're going to have it censor justified, it needs to have a guidelines. They're all the same. That actually doesn't look too bad, right? So now we need an effect that a 1 point person would do. And I'm thinking that the idea is similar to Stu. In Stu, you're trying to get to 12 points by putting stuff into the pot. But you can also have people put in the stone, which is -3, and they're trying not to score it. In this, I'm thinking it's going to be 2 teams, and I'm going to need something on here to identify a team as well, which might go here. So, while I think of that, okay. Using a free logo creator. Again, you probably don't need to see this just in case it doesn't work out and I get like a big one like that. Now, can I save it without spending money, or is it truly free? And it'll be sent by email. Okay, that's not so bad. You get to... So like, rather than me designing myself, doing this is still technically quicker. Okay, I don't need a website builder. I just want the picture that I asked for. Okay, let's go back and make another one. Back to the start here, yes. Okay, so I'm using names that I used for another game design. It's totally a junk mail, isn't it? It is a junk mail. Okay, so we have one. So I'm gonna have to add a glow hit as well, probably. But this is X ago. I don't know, I wanna make that logo. Outer glow. I'd still, damn. Make default, just so I don't have to do it again. Outer glow. Okay, that's worse somehow. How is that worse somehow? Okay, I might just change the color of the font that's used here with the paint bucket, like some horrible person. Come out so pixelated. Does that look terrible? It's not that bad. Alright, so that's the business logo for one of them. Okay, and I needed another one. Which was, I can't remember. I don't want to open it up. Show you all this other project that I'm working on. Let's try that. And now I want something red. Get a red logo. Okay. So part of this free logo generator is, okay, that looks alright. It just says company name though, hang on. Here we go. Wow. Okay. Trying to pick stuff that doesn't like exist in real life. If I've picked a company that matches anything that exists that is not intentional, these are entirely fictional things that I've just used for this video. Also, if you literally named your company X Ego, maybe that's not the best idea. Alright, here's the other one. Flickwoodate. Which is also very silly. Yeah, actually looks fine with the article. Okay, good. Good. So now we've got our two teams, Flickwoodate and X Ego. This one looks small because the name is so big. What I might do is try and make that little knot thing look a little bit bigger. Transform selection. Just become an idiot. Yeah. There we go. Here's a little bigger. Okay, it's fine. It'll do. So now we have one character that does a basic thing. So initially I was thinking that, so you're gonna have all of the cards dealt out at the start. So there's gonna be 18 cards, and depending on the number of players, all of them are gonna be dealt out and then any remainders will be pulled out of the deck. So if there's 6 players, everyone's gonna get 3 cards. And then, we need a way to determine what your team is. So it might be the card with the highest point in your hand determines your team, and you can change what team you're on by just cutting a card. But that means you need to always have one card left at the end. Or like in Spaceship Redoubt, you're choosing a card at the start. So it could be the card with the highest points value in your hand at the start is like what determines your team. And then you put that aside, so you're removing a card from the game, which means if there's 6 players, there's 3 cards each, you put one down and you have 2 cards left to do things. And so then we're building a contract or something. We're adding people's business cards into the thing to add or remove clauses to a contract. I don't know, we haven't designed it yet, but that's maybe the pitch. So we have the managing director. Now, the managing director probably shouldn't be 1 point. So let's come back to dice. And let's put in 4. Always make it bigger later, but 4 is probably a good start. See how that sits? It's in the wrong folder, that's why. Okay, we'll try and... It's not quite the right size. That is. Look at that, perfect. Okay, so this is Larissa Wilder, our managing director. So let's make a group for text. What does Larissa Wilder do? So we could have 2 effects, one where it's in your hand, it does something, or one where it's in the deck, it does something. And I was thinking that if we keep the player count small, you can have more cards in hand. So if it's a 3-player game, each player is going to have 6 cards. And it's not like super social reduction. 4 players, you need 20 cards, which is kind of whatever. How many portraits did I pull out? 7. Fits in a 21 nicely. So we can always have an odd number of cards to the number of players if more are removed, but that means we need to have more cards than evenly divides amongst the number of players, the number of cards we want to have in hand. So if we want to have 6 cards in hand and we want to have more than 3 players, we need to add like lots more cards as we go along. And then you probably, and also the number of cards in your hand is the number of rounds that there's going to be in the game. So that's going to determine how long the game's going to go for. We want it to be relatively quick. So maybe we're looking at 4 cards per player, and if we have 4 players, that's 16 cards. If we have 5 players, that's 20 cards, and so on. So maybe we're looking at 46 players, and maybe we're looking at something like that. So we get to look at the legendary text document of ideas. Let's make this a bit bigger. So 4 to 6 players, building a deck. And we wanted to have roughly 4 cards in hand, which means at 4 cards per player, roughly 24 cards. We have 7 portraits, which doesn't quite divide evenly, but that means that we can have 3 of each and then 3 that there's 4. So 3x character plus 3x like tier 1 characters. So like if you're using Love Letters comparison, the guard has more than anything else. It's worth no points, but like it can win you the game. But if you don't win with the game and it's in your hand towards the end, like you're definitely going to lose because it's worth all these points. So that's kind of what we're working for here with the points allocation. Let's just throw that away. So Larissa Wilder, who's a 4, needs to do something really powerful. And we haven't determined what the objectives are. So I'm assuming that... So we could go very easily positive and negative. All the Fliquidate stuff has really high points. All the Exego stuff has like negative points. And you're trying to get it to like either direction. Fliquidate wants there to be the higher number, like there's a threshold they're trying to meet. And Exego is trying to get it as close to 0 as possible. So bring this back over here to win conditions. Exego wants the points to be closest to 0. We'd have to define a middle point and say like if it's below this number, that's acceptable. And then we go Fliquidate wants the points to be as like closest to X, where X is a big number. So say 10 is a big number. At the start by playing a card face down. So this is just pulling this from Spaceship Readout. Except in Spaceship Readout, there's red and blue. If there's a red card, you have to pick a red card. In this, you're going to be choosing a team where that card has the highest points value. That's probably not the best. I mean, has the number that is the greatest distance from 0. Because we might have -4. It's worth considering, because if X goes trying to get it to low numbers, they're going to want negatives, right? So in that case, if this is most likely to be your alignment rather than doing something in the deck, then we probably want this to do something huge. Well, this is always going to be your alignment card. There's no cards in the deck. It's going to be in someone's hand. So then it should do nothing. It just guarantees that's what you're going to be. And we probably want a card that'll swap a player's alignment with the top card of the deck. I'll write that down. Swap a player's business card. Doesn't need to be your alignment card, like business card with, just add that keyword as well. Business card with the top card. So that could change your team onto the deck. And Spirit's Card of Mansion, there's a card Billiards Room where you discard your entire hand and your alignment card, and you get 3D cards and you choose again. This is probably as close as it gets with that. Actually, no, one better. The Walk-in Wardrobe, it was like, I'm going to Walk-in Wardrobe you. The Walk-in Wardrobe becomes your alignment, and your alignment becomes the active room. So like the top card of the deck. And because this is more like building a pot, you're not going to know what the top card of the deck is because the player to your right is the one that played it. But if you think you're on the same team, you can combo to like force someone. I don't know. But that effect can't be this, because this... I mean, I think just being worth 4 points is probably strong on its own. Kind of like princess in a way. I don't know. Let's save this. I mean, might come back to it. I need to make a new folder for this. GDSR. Business cards. I have no idea what the name is yet. So save the document first. Go to cards here. 1. Okay, so next up, that's the wrong. This one. So we need the equivalent from X ago. So we just need a new name. Alright, generate me some names, generator. Todd Vaughn. I don't hate that. Theodore Dodd. Todd Dodd. Elliot Bates. I mean, surely Elliot Bates sounds like a good fit. Oops. Elliot Bates, managing director. Now I want to somehow make this a -4. Can I just like? Does that look horrible? It's not so bad. Convert to smart object. That's fine. That'll do. I want to rename this negative. Okay. That's it. That's all Elliot Bates does. He provides negative value to the other company. It's worth -4 points. Okay, so now we have to do some actual card effects. So let's get back. I need more dice. I didn't get all the dice I needed. Okay, so we've got 4 and we've got 1. Let's grab 2. That is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to move it, thanks. Okay, put this here. 0, you can't have -0, so I don't need to worry about that. Come on, let me just pick it up. Okay. Made it stumpy. That's a terrible job, isn't it? Probably. Close enough, good enough. Which means we need 3. 3 also. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then our little minus sign at the top. Cool. Alright, we're doing on time. Half an hour. Not great. I don't think we're going to beat the record this time, but we're doing alright. The scope of this one is a bit more complicated, and now I can't recall. Okay, so we've got our managing directors, which are both the big swings when it comes to the points value. We're then going to go... Let's make some zeros. What do some zeros do? Zeros don't really help either team, but should have a big effect. So maybe they don't represent a company. Maybe they are consultants. Alright, I need another name. What do we got? Caleb Emery, Philip Talbot, Adam Burt, Darren Perkins. Might take that. Darren Perkins instead of Darren. It was spelled odd. Consultant. Okay, so we need a many bits. Okay. You choose this as your business card. So we get to have a neutral team. You win the game if there's a tie. Like, this is supposed to be the tiebreaker character. If there is a tie. We haven't defined what a tie is yet. We've kind of defined a range upon which so like Exego wants the points to be 0 to 5, Liquidate wants the points to be closest to 10. So you win the game. What did I just delete? Okay. You win the game if there is 5 points in the contract. So then, glossary of terms, contract, the deck where you're placing cards. Placing cards. Seems good. So now we have our Defiance. Let's hit that. That's 3. So there should be only one of that card, realistically. Say, pretty please. There we go. Okay. So maybe that should be the only 0 then in that case. And there's one of them? Maybe? Is that a critique on how useful consultants are? No. Consultants are great. So now we need something that does 1. Okay, so why don't we do something that interacts with business cards and then they can be in HR. That sounds like great. Okay, so let's grab a new portrait. And let's grab a name. Casey Rosa. At least that's how I'm guessing that's pronounced. And this is human resources. Okay, so then what does a person from human resources do? So we can interact with cards in hand. So it could be look at somebody's hand. It could be look at somebody's alignment, which could be good. It's pretty standard for these kind of games. So let's try something like you may reveal this card. Typing with center align is really awkward. To when adding it to the contract, to peek at another player's business card. That's not bad. Alright, let's save that. What number are we up to? 4? Okay. So we have 1, 1. So we now need a -1. Oh, I didn't add. Okay. So this will be the Exego version. So let's just overwrite that. Yeah. Do the other company version. Should have a different name, right? Surely. Alright, using the random name generator. Nell Mendez. This is the top one. Double checking spelling. Okay. Nell Mendez, human resources for Flickwood Conglomerate. Okay, so now we're gonna do a 2 for Flickwood because they're positives. And it's not gonna be HR. We'll grab a new portrait. Okay, so we've got the ability to interact with people's alignments and you reveal something before it's added to the contract. So if you're adding a positive one or a negative one, people are gonna know. But the cost of that is you get to know what team somebody's on. Okay, that's not bad. So I'm thinking we're probably gonna need 2 of each managing director. To start with, so let's bring this back over here. Where am I? Here we go. Card list 2x. We go MDs 2x liquidate MDs. 1x consultant. So it's probably 2x go HR, 2x liquidate HR, and that gives us 9 cards. That's half of all of our cards already. That's pretty good. Okay, so next up, do we want to look at people's hands to try and check what kind of stuff they're holding on to? Do we want to be able to look at the deck and see what's in there? When does the game end? Does somebody call the end of the game when they think the value is somewhere? Probably, right? However, Exego gets a big advantage because it's going to be starting at 0. So, not great. Maybe we need a card that ends the game. But then if you're Exego, you play it. You start with that in your hand, you play it. So maybe there needs to be a condition upon you being able to play it. Or a condition upon you being able to call the end of the game. Or the game ends when a certain number of cards have been played. That seems also bad. Maybe you can... After everyone's added at least 1 card, you can call for the end of the game. Okay. So let's bring this back over here. Calling the end of the game can only happen after each player has played 1 card. Simple enough. Means that everyone gets a turn. Means that Exego doesn't have a huge advantage because the numbers are going to be low naturally. I think that means that we need to have more positive cards than negative cards in the deck. So we might make like an extra something. Like an extra two cards that are 3s or something. To help out. I think picking consultant and winning on that is going to be so impossible, but whatever. Like you can give someone that alignment, right? With the swap effects. So the swap effect is a recruiter. So it's going to be. Let's grab. Did I use that portrait already? Let me double check. I have not. Okay, so this is Ali Potts. Personnel recruiter. Okay, so now we're gonna take that, swap a player's business card, choose a player to swap. There is, it needs to be capitalized as a keyword. Business card with the top card of the deck. Sick. So let me double check. So this will be the first of our 2s rather. So save as, this is card 6, right? Yeah, card 6. Then we're going to do a negativo version, but we're going to need a new name. So back to the random generator, Shayla Piper. Shayla Piper. And they're from Exego. Save that. Oops. Save as 7. Okay. So now we're going to do 3s, and all the 3s are not going to be negative. They're all going to be liquidate. And we're going to have one more character after that, apparently, according to the art that I have. So what's left to interact with, right? So get rid of that. So we use that. So we're going to have 2x recruiter for Exego, 2x recruiter for FLD. That gives us 12 cards. So, do we want something that peeks at the deck? Maybe? Maybe? So, when are effects activated? Like, you may reveal this card when adding it to the contract. That's the start. So I think that has to be revealed to do it, right? God damn it. So that's the 2 recruiters. Yeah. So I have to redo that. Okay, so I need Ali Potts. Did I delete Ali Potts? Oh no, I just renamed it. Okay, I have to redo that. Because I forgot to add when it happens. But that's fine. This is 2, it's liquidate. So it's Ali Potts. Hope I'm not suddenly changing what company they work for. Let me grab this one. Reveal this card when adding it to the contract. That's 6. Save as 6. Yeah. Yep. Alright, let me go Shayla Piper. Shayla Piper. Same effect, except negative, and works for Exego. Save as 7, replace, yep. Come back to where I was before. Grab the new portrait. This is a 3, which is not going to be negative, so it's liquidate. I don't think I added any text or anything for this yet. So this one is going to be, like, I don't think looking at a hand is great. I think maybe revealing this so that you can peek at the deck might be really good. So this is going to be our contract layer then. So please don't watch this video and think I know anything about corporate business. This is just from TV shows I've watched. Shout out to Mr. Robot. Jonah Chadwick is our contract lawyer. Contract lawyer. Okay. I may or may not have googled that to make sure I spelled it correctly. So I want this reveal clause. So let's just copy and then edit the second one. Peek at the cards in the contract. Okay, so he just shows up twice as often. Okay, so now we have one last character. Do we do another 4 and another -4? Like, what do you? I think we just do another 1 or another 2 rather. Another 2 and a -2. So we could do something like each player passes a card to the left, which I don't hate. Like if you're on a particular team and you're like, this +4 is useless to me, but then my opponent getting it is also not great either. Okay. That's tough. It could be swapping a card in hand with one other player. It's not great. So it could be straight up swapping alignments with a player, which is not great. Could be reveal the top card of the deck. That's more of like a 1-point thing. I mean, maybe it's not terrible. Reveal the top card of the deck to all players. Put it in as a solicitor, I suppose. It's not the worst. So we're gonna need a name. Let's generate a name. Ellen Ratliff. Ellen Ratliff. Solicitor. Well, that needs a capital. Let's duplicate this. Reveal the top card of the contract to all players. Okay. Save as. This is number 8? No. This is number 9. Okay. Let's just save the doc while I think of it. And we need to get another name. Aisha Hayden. I just edited it. Aisha Hayden. Okay. Does the same thing, except this is for the other company. It has negative. Save as 10. Saves. I think that's all of our cards. Let's have a quick recap here. Extra large. So we've got the 2 managing directors, which are just worth a lot of points. We have the consultant, which is the alternate win condition. We have the 2 people from human resources, where if you reveal it when adding it to the contract, you get to peek at another player's business card, and your business card is your alignment. We have personnel recruiters, so you reveal this card by adding it to the contract, and you can choose a player to swap their business card with the top card of the deck. So we're going to have to stipulate in the rules that an effect triggers when you reveal it before it is added to the contract. So the top card of the contract is not the card you just played. Make sure that the logos are different for each of these. Contract lawyer, which is just going to be 2 of. Reveal this card to look at the whole deck. And then the solicitor is just reveal 1. So this looks fine. I haven't made any mistakes that I can see. I'm going to go ahead and build the International A4. Build the print and play. So 8, no, this is where. I'm so dumb. I swear I get these 2 things mixed up every time. 825. 1650. 2475. 1125. 2250. 3375. Let me add 1 to these edges so that we can. Come on. Do that all the time too. So we have 10 different cards. And we want 18. We probably want more than 18, so that's fine. So we're going to have 1 of each managing director. Let's do Yeah. One of each managing director. Because it's not fun to have a lot of cards that do nothing. Why did that not size correctly? One of each managing director, one consultant. So these are like basically just alignment cards at this point. And then we want probably 2 of each human resources person. Let's follow the guide that I wrote. And it's basically 2 of everything else. I don't know why I can't do that correctly. Okay, here. Here, alley pots. So once this is done, we still have to do the rules page. It's not quite done yet. So we're gonna save that. Let's go up. Play page 1. So I don't need to make an extra alley pots. That's fine. Shayla Piper. Once again, all of the names are randomly generated. The portraits that I use are just stock art that I found on Free Pick, Pick being P-I-K. It's kind of whatever, like it's like 1 pixel. So I think this needed 4 because we were playing twice as many. And then we're going to get the solicitors. So we're going to have slightly over 18 cards. It's fine. Have 19 cards. How does that work out? It's worse. It's much worse. Why is this study off? Save this page 2. Group. Close this. So I'm thinking you might need to add slightly more cards for padding. And I think just adding more solicitor is fine. So going up to 8 solicitor might be okay. No, we're gonna add more human resources. We're gonna double the number of human resources. No, we're gonna add 1 more of each human resources and 1 more of each of solicitor. Too many human resources, and you know what everyone's alignment is by the time the game ends. And too much solicitor, you just like always know what everyone's doing. And if you reveal everything that's added to the deck all the time, it gets really bad. Okay, so we've got 23 cards. I hate this. I hate everything about this. But it's whatever. So if we're playing with 6 players, everyone gets 3 cards, and there's 5 cards face up in the middle. That's it. We're playing with 4 players, everyone gets 5 cards. This is much better. And if it's 5, everyone gets 4. That's fine. Whatever. Alright, we need our business card. Black border. Rotatee. Alright. Let's see if we can like add article. text doesn't overlap. That's fine. This. Like that. And we're gonna name it the merger or something, right? Like the merger. That is bigger. What do we say? Bring back the text document. 4 to 6 players. Like this. So 4 to 6 players. It's bloody left justify for me. 15 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna come. This story. Everyone loves a good story. Two huge, largest corporate merger in history. Let's embellish. You are all sitting in the largest corporate merger in history. Each of you are trying to negotiate a contract that most benefits your employees. Is that it? We'll come back to that if I think of more, but that feels like everything. Set up. Okay, so shuffle the 23 card deck. Hurts to write. I just like eyeballed it. Wow, it's right on. Shuffle the 23 card deck and deal out cards to each player so that each player has the same amount. Any remaining cards are placed face up and to the side. Each player then selects a card from their hand to be their business card. The company logo represented in the top left corner determines your victory condition. The consultant may also be chosen and has a unique win condition. That's it. We do victory conditions separately later. Okay, I need to make the font smaller. Let's go 18. I'm just gonna run out of space. I have to look at the thing. It's far. No. I want to edit this one. Thank you. Okay, let's move setup. Yes. And I have to respace this. Come on. What am I doing? I should have had an afternoon nap. This is going terribly. Okay. Gameplay. That needs capital. Okay. Appropriately dressed for an office as voted by the players goes first. Each player takes turns adding a card from their hand to the contract. The contract is a face down pile of cards in the center of the table. Center of the table. When adding a card to the contract, some cards have a reveal effect, where their effect is resolved before it becomes the top card of the contract. To alleviate some confusion. At any time, any player may terminate negotiations for the contract by announcing thusly. Termination. This party's over. At this time, the contract is inspected and all players' business cards are revealed. Winning the game. Okay, players who are employed by Hexago win the game if the value, total sum of cards in the contract, is less than 5. Players who are employed by Fliquidate win the game if the it should be contract value. The contract value. Win the game if the contract value is above 6. The consultant wins the game if the contract value equals 5. Is that it? Have I missed anything? A termination may only be called once each player has added a card to the contract. Yeah. Okay, I just need to move this and this down. And then add my logo. If I can find it. Switch this into the bottom. Designed by Kitty Franks. No way does this represent a corporate environment. Any names used in this game were randomly generated and do not represent real people. Just in case. Rule booklet. Alright, it's time. Get ready to stop the clock. Automate PDF presentation. Browse. Business cards. The merger, if I can actually. Oh, we're gonna be close. I thought I went way over. I stopped the clock 1:06. Oh, 5 minutes off. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So thanks for hanging out for this game design speedrun video. Basically, wow, I'm floored actually. I'm really surprised. If you like the look of this game and you would like to play it, you can find a download link for it below in the description. It will be uploaded on itch.io as well as all the other games. Not all the other games, some of the other games from Game Design Speedrun. Everything else can be found on the Cutlass Board Games Patreon, which will also have a link in the description. Any support is like super duper helpful, and for just $1 you'll get extra webcomic pages a week early. You'll get access to all the downloads that are on there. There's also the Winning Love by Daylight visual novel stuff goes up on there early, and you can vote and interact with that, which is really cool. There's heaps happening on there now. So that'd be fantastic, and check out the itch page. There's heaps of games on there that are worth having a look at. So thanks for hanging out, watching this video. I hope some of it was actually informative and helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the description. I answer all of them because so far there's only been 2 or 3. But if you want to learn more about what I'm doing, figure out what's going on, ask questions. Have requests, post them. And please like and subscribe because that makes me feel nice and warm and fuzzy inside.